Welcome to part 2 in Gold Prospecting Australia's How-To series. In part 1 we showed you what accessories you might need, or some of the accessories you might need, and in this part 2 we're going to show you how to get started in metal detecting, looking for gold. We're going to be using the Minelab SDC 2300. It's an incredibly fantastic machine. It's versatile, it's waterproof to 3 meters, it is so easy to use. You're going to learn how to start up your machine, what settings to use, how to ground balance it, how to auto tune it, what noises to listen for, how you should go about your detecting. We hope you enjoy the series we're starting on. It's a great adventure. Gold prospecting is a fantastic hobby and we just hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Well, as I suppose most of you will be aware, this is the fantastic Minelab SDC 2300. We use this these days for most of our training days, especially for people who've never detected before. So that's what we're going to start our part 2 of our how-to series on how to set up your Minelab SDC 2300. Show you what settings we use, how we get it started, and get you started in detecting. So that's what you see is what you get. It doesn't come with this guide on. We've talked about the trumpet and that before. That's the trumpet there. One of our other videos we talked about the trumpet. But that there's your main control panel, I suppose. That there's your sensitivity or your gain. When it comes as factory preset, it comes in the position of 2. It'd be incredibly rare for us to use 2. Minelab recommend 2. Yeah, look, 2's fine. It gives you, makes it nice and quiet. You'll find targets. You won't hear much ground noise or interference from electrical interference. But we much prefer to have it set on either 4 or 5. And it's very rare that we would deviate from that. We're pretty close here to some power lines, and I'll show you. I mean very close to power lines, not any more than about 50 yards, 50 metres away. That's our on-off switch. Of course the SDC 2300 is waterproof to 3 metres, so behind all these little knobs we have O-rings to stop the water getting in. So when we turn these on, we lift and turn. So I'm going to turn this on, and I'll just turn on with that hand there to show you. So lift and turn, and this is our start-up sequence for this. So we've shown you our sensitivity and our on-off switch. Up on the top here we have a couple of different things. We have a threshold or volume control, whichever way you want to look at it. It's on maximum now, but if I just flick it, it'll go back to minimum. As you can hear, just keep flipping it. Just hit it, get it back up to maximum again. This little button here is our noise cancel or auto tune button. There are 2 major issues when we go prospecting. The first issue is electrical interference. Electrical interference is from the ground up. So when you turn your machine on, you need to find out where most noise is coming from. Now, I don't know whether you can see those there, but there's power lines run straight through there. They're only not even 50 metres away, 50 yards away. So any electrical interference will affect this machine. Inside the detector itself, we've got over 250 frequencies, and we want to find the best frequency for us to operate on here today. So we press that button there, and for the next 55 seconds, press the button. The machine is scanning all of its frequencies to go through and find the best frequency for us to work on here today. So it's going to pick a frequency or a channel, I suppose you could say, that doesn't have too much electrical interference. And I said those power lines will play up with it. Aeroplanes and jets flying over, they're using radar, satellite navigation, beacon finding, radios. All those sort of things will affect our machine. If you detect with a mate, his machine will affect our machine as well. They'll talk to one another. So it's important. This takes about 55-60 seconds, and when it's finished, we'll know when it finishes. It goes bip, bip, bip. It's really important to do this when you get to a new area. Like if you came back to the same spot day after day, you turn your machine on, it was nice and quiet, you wouldn't need to do this procedure. All right? So now we've picked the channel it's happy with, and the next thing we have to take care of is ground noise, mineralisation, hot ground, hot rocks. You've heard it all at different occasions if you watch any TV or read anything about it. So we're lucky with the 2300. It has what we call an automatic ground balance. So as we're detecting, as we're moving our coil backwards and forwards, the machine is analysing all the mineralisation in the ground, and as we do that, it tries to compensate for it, or to knock it and neutralise it, I suppose is the best word to use. But we help it out with this green button here, which is called our ground balance button. If you've ever had any of the other machines, whether it be the, from the 35 GP 3500 onwards, they've all had a ground balance button. So this is no different. And this is the way you should balance your machine. A lot of people balance them far too fast, but this is how it should be done. So if my finger's on the button, push them down, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Finger off button. We've now neutralised that mineralisation in the ground around here as best we can. You see the colour there of those rocks, that orangey colour? That's caused by iron oxide stoning. And you often get some very black rocks out here, and they'll actually be picked up on the magnet. So we've taken care of the electrical interference, and we've taken care of the mineralisation in the ground. So when we talk about mineralisation or hot ground or hot rocks, what are we talking about? Well, in the ends of our picks here we have a rare earth magnet, and on one of our other videos, YouTube channel videos, you'll see where we actually install one. The rare earth magnet is a super magnet. It's as strong, but it's a really good way to show you when we talk about mineralisation what we're talking about. Have a look. It's amazing, isn't it? So that's really a very simple way to explain when we talk about hot ground or mineralised ground or hot rocks. That's the sort of thing we're talking about. But also in the clay itself, when you see dark red clay or even orange coloured clay, the colour is caused by iron oxides within that clay itself. And depending on how much is in there will depend on how much mineralised the ground is. Like I said before, the 2300 is really clever. As we're detecting with the 2300, it's trying to keep up with all those changes. So say between here and the pick where I've just walked from, which is over there, the ground mineralisation could change 2 or 3 times perhaps. If the machine isn't keeping up with those changes in the mineralisation, it's going to mask little targets maybe, or deeper targets. So it's really important to balance your machine. Now even though the 2300, for us, this is how we train our people, even though the 2300 is in this mode of tracking all the time, it's in a continual tracking mode, as in tracking, keeping up to date with, trying to keep up to date with the mineralisation, we balance it. So remember, finger on green button, 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5, finger off button. We've now neutralised as best we can the mineralisation in this area around here. We do it all the time. Even though it's in automatic tracking, we still do it, and it gives us the edge on finding more targets and more gold. So when we talk about mineralisation, you have an idea. During this part 2 in this series, we'll hear lots of ground noises, and we'll show you how to ignore it, how to balance it out and not listen to it. You have to learn to trust your machine. It's never been any different the way we detect. You trust your machine all the time. If you balance your machine and the noise disappears or the noise softens off, trust your machine. The machine's telling us it's not a target, it's mineralisation. Trust your machine, move on to the next proper target. So we're ready to start detecting.